How's it going, YouTube? I recently purchased the NZXT N7 Elite case. I already had the 710i, so people were asking, why did you upgrade? It's the same case. Technically, no. They've made a lot of improvements, and we're going to take a look at that. Roll the intro. The N7 Elite comes with a tinted glass side panel, and the 710i had a clear glass panel. The front side panel on the 710i, you'd release the screw and you were able to take it off. With the H7, you just pop it right off. No screws involved. There's a vent on the top side and the side on the front. On the H7, there's no venting. On the top, no airflow got out the top. You had your two USB, one USB-C, and headphone jack. On the H7, you've got venting on top and the same plugs as the 710i. The front of the 710i was just a solid aluminum, no intake on the front. And we got solid tinted glass on the front of the H7 Elite. On the backside panel, we had venting on the 710i in the front and top. And nowhere else. And you would release it by the push button on the back. On the H7, the venting is in the front only. And you just release by pulling out. There's no button on this one. On the back of the 710i, you had some venting at the top. You had room for a 140 mil fan in the back. And then you had a side mount area, and then where the power supply goes in on the bottom. And it was a rear mount power supply. On the back of the H7, you still have some venting on the top and room for a 140 mil fan. The slots are enclosed in this one, and it's not a rear mount for the power supply anymore. You have to go in through the side. And side mounting is only available through a secondary ordered option. On the interior of the H710i, you can see that bar took up most of the interior, and they've really improved that in the new model. You've got wider gaps at the top for wiring. That cable bar is you got space between the top and the bottom now, and then it tapers off at the bottom, so it's really looks a lot cleaner inside than the 710i. That cable bar, you had to remove it just to do anything in there a lot of times. Now the new one's not in the way. Still got the gap in the front, and the gaps down the bottom are a lot wider on the newer case, so you can run wires through. And the same on the top. They're real thin on the top in the 710i. It was hard to get some of those cables through, but on this new one, it's opened up a lot more and it's easier to get them through. And you've got the three 140 mil fans on the front of the H7, and on the H710i, you had the three 120 mil fans. On the H7 Elite, it's got more of a chamber in this front part now, where it pulls in air from the bottom and the side. And then the wiring tracks are a lot more usable, I should say. On the 710i, it was just wide open in there, and you had those plastic tray routing, whereas the new one's a lot more flexible to route your wires. And you also have a larger RGB controller in the new one. You can plug in more items than the old one. Another improvement on the new H7 case is you just undo this one thumb screw and you can remove the hard drive bay. and it has adjustable areas in there. On the H710i, you had to remove 4 screws on the bottom. It was a pain in the ass. On the top of the H710i, it had this rack in there that you could take the screws out and remove the rack, and you could put in fans or radiator and fans, and then put it back in there. To remove the top on the H710i, you had to remove the front, and then you could remove the top. On the H7, you remove the top, and then you can remove the front. The feet on the H7 are slightly different, kind of more rounded than the H710i. And the H7 is slightly not as tall as the H710i. It's a little bit lower. Now let's move our computer components from the H710i to the H7 Elite with the magic of YouTube. Obviously, the move didn't happen that fast, but it was very fast to move my components from one to the other. I really like building in that new N7 case. If it's not some stupid regulation, for the love of God, NZXT, please quit putting the stickers right on the glass. Put them on the plastic protector that you have on the glass. So here's the final product with my build now in the H7 case, H7 Elite. I think it looks real nice with the tinted glass. I did end up moving a couple of the light strips from the H710i case over to this case because it was pretty dark inside. With the glass panel removed on that side, you can see a little better in there. I went with the red because it seemed to show a little better through the tinted glass than the purple I usually use. And as far as airflow, the temperatures are the same as it was on the H710i for me. Under load or when I'm gaming for hours, the CPU is in the low 60s. And the GPU is normally high 50s, low 60s. So no issues with airflow or not getting enough cooling. So as you can see by the side-by-side, NZXT has made a lot of improvements to this case. I'm really liking this N7 Elite. I like the 3 140 fans in the front. Really looks good. I like the tinted dark glass. Kind of gives a hint of what's inside, you know, however you light it. And overall, I think it was the easiest case to build in that I've ever built in. And I really like the case. Plenty of room for expansion if graphics cards get bigger or so forth. So it's a pretty good case choice. A little steep on the $200, but that's what I paid for my 710i, so the cost was still the same, and I think you get much better quality case for the money. So as always, if you've watched this long, you're a trooper. Thanks for watching. Please hit a like and a subscribe. That helps me out, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.